Be alive for this one. It's coming from this direction. There will be more t-shirts. So you're gonna need to stay awake because that cannon, it puts them in row R on the other side. It's pretty exciting. Hey, welcome to Institute Day, Fall 2023. I'm one of your co-hosts, and that's, I'm Rob Stevenson, the Dean of the School of Arts, Performance, and the Humanities, and
I am your girl Jackie, Associate Dean of Special Programs.
And we just want to thank you for being here, and we'll start off with MJC Dance.
It's a bittersweet symphony that's alive, trying to make ends meet. You're a slave to the money, then you die. I'll take you down the only road I've ever been down. You know, the one that takes you to the places where all the veins meet, yeah. Don't change, I can't change, I can't change, I can't change, but I'm here in my mode. I am here in my mode, but I'm a million different people from one day to the next. I can't change my mode, no, 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 no. Well, I've never prayed, but tonight I'm on my knees, yeah.
One more time for award-winning MJ Seagan. Now, this semester feels a little different, like we're coming back to a full campus, and I'm really excited to have some classes filling in person, even at night. So I prepared a brief statement which I think will capture the feel of the moment. So, why did the pirate buy an eye patch? Because he couldn't afford an iPad. How do pirates cook their steaks? On a barbecue. All right. So it's my pleasure to introduce YCCD Chancellor, Dr. Henry Young.
Thank you, thank you. The summer is over and we are back. I understand some of you had an opportunity to really get away and perhaps even circle the globe a couple of times. But some of us may not have an opportunity to get very far from our house. Whether it's vacation or staycation, welcome back to fall. Students are waiting for us, and they are looking to us for a great experience. So it's an opportunity for us to serve the returning students and a new batch of students. Let us keep in mind that now, because of online, post-COVID, people have an opportunity to choose. They don't need to come to MJC. From their computers at home, they could register at any community college in the state. So if they're with us, we want to thank them for being here, to give us an opportunity to serve them. On that note, I want to thank all the departments of the college for a great year. The enrollment is up, but we also lost quite a number of our students. It seems we had worked very hard to bring them in through the front door, but the back door is also wide open. sometimes the decision between staying on and exiting ahead of time is going to be determined by us. I look back at my own journey when I was undergrad. I was ready to return and go home after 2 weeks. Why? Because I was struggling with the language. I felt out of place in a different culture. I had to adjust to the climate. I had to adjust to the food in the cafeteria. I was miserable. The only reason I am still here, I trace it back to one faculty member who took an interest to help me, to talk to me, and help me to see directions. And I decided I would at least try and finish that quarter. I did. And I'm still here. All of us here will have that opportunity when the semester begins. And when I went to graduate school, I was struggling, and I was trying to figure out where would I get the funds to cover my education. And I thought, well, maybe I should stop. But someone was kind enough to talk to me after noticing that I was miserable. That was not a faculty member. That was not an administrator. That was a classified staff member. She was one of the clerks in the dean's office. She took the time to talk to me and to engage with me. And she helped me see that perhaps if I would be willing to work really hard and struggle for a few years and do with a lot of things without, I would be able to complete. And because of her, I finished my graduate program. Well, I'm happy to say that I'm still in touch with her. She's in her 90s now. The work that each one of us does is of great importance. A word of encouragement here and a word of encouragement there may not seem very important to us, but to people in need, to our students who are coming, and in that moment of perhaps indecision of should I continue, should I drop, your words will have a great impact on our students. And as I share with you, I'm speaking from experience. Next, I want to talk about the NJC presidential search. It's been a little while now, but we haven't forgotten about it. I just want to announce that the announcement could be ready to be posted online as early as September 5th or September 11th. And during this time, I will be working with the leadership of the constituent groups to solicit members to participate in the committee. And I hope you will put in your interest to participate. Yes, I know some of you did not get to serve, and you expressed that to me, and I tried to explain that you have to work through your constituency, and I had urged the constituent groups to perhaps consider that if you have previously served in a committee, perhaps you let someone else, another of your colleague who has not previously served an opportunity to participate in this process. That's only an advice. Ultimately, the decision will be made by the constituent groups. With that, I would be remiss if I did not mention about the accreditation. There's a lot of excitement in the air, and now the two colleges are giving monthly updates to the Board of Trustees at the board meetings on the progress of accreditation. A lot of work was done. A lot of the work was unseen. And I know, because I have chaired multiple accreditation teams. I'm chairing one to another multi-college district, and I've been working with the chancellors and the two presidents of that district. And I know the amount of work that has gone in by the colleges in that district. And definitely the same thing has happened here. People have been participating from all constituent groups, and same thing goes for Columbia College. I was at Columbia College yesterday, and I heard great news. The president announced that Columbia College is just 35 FTEs behind pre-COVID. It has almost caught up to its enrollment before COVID. That's great news for them. In fact, they were much, much closer. I believe there were 15 FTEs behind, I think. But then we dropped the students who had not paid, and then now they're 35 behind. So we do a great job in bringing the students in. Let us, at our own personal level, do our part to engage with the students and help them to stay the course and complete. Thank you. Have a great semester.
Gonna get some music. Introducing your two-time heavyweight interim president, Dr. Chad Rudwig!
Welcome MJC to your transformative fall 2023 semester. I will put an early announcement in the schedule. Sorry, Rob. If you serve on 3 college-wide committees, we will shoot this off every time you walk into a room. Possible, right? So think about it. When I'm getting older, I'm catching my breath, so maybe that's why we should go teacher quick here. Let's get to the slides. So maybe that's where I'll begin. I am getting a little older. I remember when I first started at MJC, there were a good number of faculty on staff who didn't know how to check email. I may or may not have been one of them. So it's been a long road, but I think the question I want to pose is when you talk about all the change that we're undergoing and hopefully the transformation we project in the future is our job. And MJC is probably what motivates me. And so I hope you understand if I've worked with you as a faculty member, as an academic senate president, or now as an interim president, that I work to make you proud. So that's why I'm up here. I hope to do a good job, but I want to begin with a little transparency. So the question today is this, as we continue. Do we change MJC, or does MJC change us? Or both? Cue next line. Oh! To your far left is the 2005 Chad Redwing, who began his first year as a full-time interdisciplinary humanities instructor. I was taken on the quad in 2005 and published in the Pirates Log. Lots of change, all right? 2020, this is me as academic senate president. How does that look? That's after a good number of months of quarantining and running endless number of meetings on Zoom while my goats jump over the fence and impregnate each other. So let's just say it's great being at work. My wife said I'm kind of a lot to handle, especially early in the morning, as you're finding out. This is why I teach in the morning. So she finally said, you need to get out of COVID, put on a jacket, and go to work again and get the hell out of the house. So I did. And then got this wild hair. So I just want to show you that I think as much as we change this place, it changes us. And I think it does so in primarily good ways. That there's all kinds of issues and problems. Cue next slide. We're going to talk about one of them today. But I want to kind of talk you through the tough part of today's presentation by reminding you that we have the capacity to do these things, right? That we can also change this place. So I have some bad news. I'm a teacher, I'm an instructor by heart, so the first thing I do is sit down with the researchers, look at the data. And so the researchers have had to meet with me every Monday for the last 6 weeks to cue me on what I can learn about this college and how to run it this semester. And guess what I found out? I found out that from last spring semester, last time I saw you all, to today's transformation, guess how many students who were at MJC have stopped attending? And my only administrative experience is in a charter school, and we're used to, when you pull a name out of the hat, everyone cries and there's a wait list of 300. So a number of 1 is unacceptable. Anyone want to guess? Sorry, this is teacher Chad. Just deal with me. 8,000 students. The equivalent of 4 Columbia colleges. This is why our sister institution's up here. We have a great district, a strong district. We weathered 2020 and COVID, I think, pretty well financially. But our metrics with students are not good. So luckily, we've got a lot of talent around here, and we also attract roughly the same number of students. So, Chad, why do you worry? Why does it matter at all? It doesn't. It doesn't affect the budget, right? Why does it matter? Next slide, please. Here's why it matters. For every degree, including a certificate, that actually has a higher bump than a 2-year associate's degree, a student in the course of their lifetime with every degree beyond high school is guaranteed a lifetime of higher median weekly wages. Meaning, in the case of professional degrees, like most or many of us on faculty have, you're looking at multiplicities of lifetimes compared to someone with a high school diploma. So frankly, every time we leave, we're robbing them of the opportunity of that future income. So the challenge I want to put out there is we have to retain all these great students that come to us, and they need to leave with something. And it can be a certificate, it can be a small one, but if we don't, we're not serving them in the future. Why else? Well, the higher degree earning you have means the less likely you are to be unemployed. Do we have unemployment in the Central Valley? Yeah, I think it was what, 2008? Well, about the time I came, Modesto was rated by Forbes as one of the most miserable cities in America because of the impact of the last housing crisis. Must have been 2007. So we know when it hits bad here. And it hits bad here because we have one of the lowest educational attainment rates in the country. So what we have to do is help our students retain and attain so they stay employed and they make more money. And unfortunately, that's our calling, right? We are the DMV of education. Are we not? Proudly, this is our strength. We serve everyone who comes to us. And we should find as many of those students as we can, retain them, and transform them. Next slide, please. And I'll tell you one other reason why. So this is not my story. So I asked her permission. And she says yes. She says, go ahead and use my name. So I will. Her name is Layla. Layla's a student of mine, was a student of mine. And she came to my office space about 12 years ago. And she was crying. And I said, I don't think you're a student of mine. She said, no, I'm not. I just wanted to talk. So she sat down. All right, so here we go. Office hours over. Right? You know this. You all know this. The same thing happens. Turns out she had to leave on an airplane in 3 days for an arranged marriage in the Middle East, and she didn't want to go. She wanted to finish her degree. She said, Chad, what do you do? I'm proud to tell you I got a text from her this week with her first job, full-time job. She said, my first big girl job with her own business card. She now has full-time employment after receiving an associate's degree from MJC in humanities, a bachelor's degree from Sac State, and now deferring for a master's degree at Arizona State, my own alma mater. Isn't that awesome? Go Layla. That's how we do this. You all know that, whether you're a teacher, whether you work in a front office, whether you make sure this place looks welcoming to students. You know that's the reason why we do what we do every day. Now, I'm calling you to do it now, this semester, now, for Layla. I'll also tell you what she does as my second announcement that Rob's going to kill me for. She got a job at a local nonprofit called CAMP that is now recruiting students to give them money to help retain them in college and do complete wraparound services. And Layla, on her first day, introduced them to everyone, including Professor Villanelli, who happened to be on campus in her crosshairs. Isn't that great? And the only requirement of getting Layla's attention while you're at MJC is that one of your family members has to work in the fields. That's why we work at MJC. Next slide, please. So I'm going to do the boring stuff now, but I just wanted to remind us why we're all here and how wonderful this semester can be. And the reason I'm so sure of that is we've got some great planning. Believe it or not, we've got some planning. And we've got a great team. So number one, let me quickly go over just two things. If you would get one more slide, I think we'll get to our team. In those documents that are available for your purview or falling asleep or whatever, it's important to know that we do have a 5 and a 10-year plan. And what we're focusing on this semester is in completion of course and awards. So the courses are important. Individuals' course success rates, we all know, are a little tricky. But what we should know is that in an academic year, more students should leave than currently leave now. For example, you remember that first slide. How many associate degrees do we give every year? That's our red line. 2,000. How many certificates, which produce a huge bump in wage earnings? Small certificates, you can get them done in 1 year. How many? 2,000 associate degrees. How many certificates? Should be. It's in the hundreds. There you go. So we got some work to do. All the metrics aren't good, but we are, and we got good work to do. So we're also going to focus on opportunity gaps as the example of camp, and go for the students who we know are most likely not to retain. Our 4-year graduation rate for Hispanic students for a 2-year degree hovers around 14%. So you see from a charter lens, these metrics are good, but we also know how to fix it. Camp, I asked them, what's your retention rate? And she happens to be this wonderful woman from Argentina who has these nonprofits all over the United States now. She says we shoot for about 90%, which is what CALS is. So we can get there, we can pilot these new ways, we can close opportunity gaps, we can retain our students and get them awards, and we can help people like Layla send you their first business card. So thank you. Welcome to MJC Fall 2023 semester. Thank you for your time. I know you should all be doing your solo op. But I do have just a little bit more for you. And these are announced advertisements, but it's from an important group of people. The next 4 people I'd like to introduce are members of the leadership team. And I think it's really important that you understand that none of us, including myself, are in this alone. So the thought of the challenges we have to tackle is you just have enough good people doing the right thing for the right reason, and things change. In my past experience, that proves to be true. And you're going to understand today that you work with some great people. So I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Andrea Wilson from the Office of the Vice President of Student Services. Dr. Sarah Schrader, Vice President of College Administrative Services. Dr. Brian Sanders, Interim Vice President of Instruction. And Giselle Flores. Where's Giselle Flores? She's there, right? There you are, Academic Senate President. So each of them's going to do a 2 to 3 minute speed round. Tell you what they're working on in their area to close equity gaps, to hit the theme that we're going to talk about more today, and that is, how do we encourage a sense of belonging at MJC, which frankly has been lacking due to global implications, right? But how we focus on learning again, right? And once we do that, how we learn to thrive. So with that, here's your team. I give you Dr. Andrea Wilson.
Can you hear me? There it is. Good morning. Oh, my student services team, good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to tell you what's been happening in student services and to really show you how much we've grown, but also the larger footprint we are about to have on this campus. Our theme, the theme for the institution this year is Belong, Learn, and Thrive. This is not new to student services because we introduced this at the start of last fall. So it's about implementation for our division and showing the work that we've been doing. So I am going to go to my next slide to talk about Belong. And one of the activities that we did for student services at the start of last year was we did an activity that everyone in the division gave ideas and suggestions about how we can create opportunities for students to belong, learn, and thrive. And I was able to look at that list and literally check off, yes, we've done this, yes, we've done that, and it's happening this year. So regarding Belong, building connections within each school was creating student success hubs. So what you will start to see is a transition of student success hubs in every school. So we will start to, it's like having a pathway center in each school, and we will open up a welcome center that will replace where the fireplace lounge is. So those student success teams. We also will promote affinity groups and create dedicated spaces and new programs. So several new programs happening this year is Next Up, which is for our foster youth, the Native American Student Success Program, Camp, which is for our migrant students, Mesa and Puente. Those are all new programs that are starting this year, and all of those programs will have a space on this campus. Helping students feel nurtured and valued and connected. Regarding those spaces, centers that are opening up this semester is the Pride Center, the Rise Up Centers, which already have been taking place, the International Students Hub, the Mental Health and Wellness Advocacy Center, and several others. Our major area will be equity work. And the Vision 2030 plan from our California Community College's Chancellor's Office is all wrapped around equity, and that is what student services does. So it is equity and success, equity and access, and equity and support, and that is what we will do in student services. One example of that is how we will close the equity gap. One of the questions that keeps coming up is, what are we doing for men of color? And one of the things that we are doing this year is having a chapter, and a men chapter that is specifically for men of color on this campus. Some suggestions, some ideas of what's happening related to Belong is, obviously we did our Welcome Day. That's happening this year. We did it last year. We're having West Fest, so we have heard you say we want things to happen on West Campus. That is happening next week, as well as College Night. The Welcome Center will open, like I mentioned, being proactive in outreach, the enrollment campaign, and wellness advocates. And then an additional thing is TRIO is serving students regardless of citizenship and residency status moving forward. So my next slide related to Learn. It's about promoting learning opportunities within student services. We'll promote success tours for program completion. Financial literacy, our financial aid department has been doing FAFSA workshops and has updated our financial aid self-services portal so students are clearly educated about what their financial aid status is and is at their fingertips. Learning to align employment through career services, and then healthy living and overall wellness learning opportunities and workshops for our students. As it relates to promoting cohort experiences, our college skills and guidance courses, tutoring support, participation in our clubs and orgs, but also we're starting the Project Lead opportunity. The Project Lead program specifically will create a co-curricular transcripts for our students and allow those leadership opportunities through our student life department, where those topics will include, they will receive badges in health and wellness, financial literacy, community service, career preparation, social justice and diversity, and conflict management. So it's about showing paralleling what's happening in the classroom, but also having that co-curricular transcripts of what our student leaders are learning. And then support, innovation, and access. We will also be launching 3D virtual tours. So it's no more going online and looking at that hand map that you can print out, but actually being able to click on a button, see a classroom, walk through both of our campuses. So that is coming this fall as well. Another innovative activity is happening is our new student ID card system that will start to kick off this fall. But as you know, it's very archaic what we have right now, but our new system will be an app where it's on your phone, your bus passes will be loaded on there, your meal cards will be loaded on there, so we can stop where students are lining up right now to get their ID cards. Basic needs services, we're going the opposite direction of making students come to us, but going to them as far as outreach and identifying what their needs are. And then Thrive. Again, building community connections with our dual enrollment, our high school access to campus. So we're making several opportunities to bring high school students to our campus. And it's actually happening next week at West Fest when we do College Night. We have at least minimum of 6 buses where high school students are coming to our campus next week. We also have paid for transportation for our high school students to also come to our Steps to Start days as well. Our enhanced customer service experience and students first focus. We've had an enrollment campaign this year where we hired a company that reached out to students who have stopped out, but also continuing students to help them through the process. We have done a lot with customer service. I know a lot have heard about the drop for non-payment. That number was over 3,200 students that would have been dropped on Tuesday of this week. Due to all the customer service work that our financial aid department, that number dropped to 1,350 students. That is a significant drop. And of those 1,350, a few hundred have already re-enrolled. So no doubt, I think that number would easily drop below 1,000. It's also about taking pride in our work and product of our work. So promoting our co-curricular skills, normalizing self-care, wellness, and basic needs support. So we definitely have, wellness vending machines that are coming, our wellness student advocates, the space we're gonna open to provide that service. We also will promote and share student success stories, peer-to-peer and alumni, but also knowing our students' stories. So another item that's starting this fall is that we will have drop reasons for students. So when they drop from a class, now they have to indicate why. And then finally, branding and marketing and sharing and showing and promoting the work of student services because student services does a lot. But we will, again, have our newsletter, update our brochures, we'll have posters, we'll have a QR code where you can see all of the services, where they will be located, and that access at your fingertips. So again, student services is doing big things, having a larger footprint on campus and expanding. So thank you very much.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So from the college and administrative services perspective for Belong, Learn, Thrive, we want to make sure that we're allocating our resources to those initiatives. And so through our next slide on our district resource allocation model, we have received another $2 million of ongoing funding. So this new district resource allocation model that is still in its pilot phase, I think we're on the 4th year, but it has allocated $7 million of ongoing funding to our institution. So this year, this $2 million was used to fund some of our full-time faculty positions for the new growth positions that we did receive, and it's also going towards operational needs to support these initiatives. One thing that the state budget did do is it did cut our instructional equipment and library material monies to where we have 0 of those types of funds coming into 23-24. So if you received allocations during the 22-23 year, those are the allocations that we have available for this year. But we did have about $2 million of savings from our general fund budget last year, so the Resource Allocation and Facilities Committee will be able to use those funds for requests that come through program review. On the next slide, the state did keep our COVID block grant whole. This was very important to us. We were slated to receive the $7.1 million. There were talks that it was going to be reduced to about $2.5 million, so I'm happy to say that we do get to keep the full $7.1 million. This will fund the initiative for free parking for students going forward. We are partnering with the district to do this. We are putting some funds forward, and then the district is making it whole so that going forward from this year forward, we will have no parking fees for students. We will also be contributing funds to Flow. So as you may or may not know, our Free Lunch for Wednesday program is funded by our Associated Student Group, and they are in need of additional funds. So we will be using COVID block grant money to support Flow. We also use these funds to support the new ID card system, and we will continue to make technological enhancements for instruction. So for example, we have a lot of high-flex classrooms coming online. Well, there's some classrooms that did not receive any technology and in some of our buildings. So we're making sure that we're trying to update projectors and screens and any other technology that we need in those spaces. We are also growing our Center for Excellence in Technology Enhanced Instruction. So with COVID, we have a lot more classes online. Well, we still only have a bare minimum team for online instruction. So we are going to be growing that team by adding a director and more support staff for that space. We will also be supplementing mental health costs and providing free grants for students to cover fees. So some of those students that would have been dropped weren't dropped because we have this other pot of funds that will help to cover those fees so they won't be dropped in the future. On the next slide, last spring I talked about we had $1.5 million of money that came in that we worked towards furniture modernization. So over the spring semester and over the summer, we met with the deans and the folks in those areas, and we identified some of the furniture that needed to be replaced and changed. Those orders have been placed, so you will start seeing furniture coming in about the next 2 to 3 months and deployed during the fall semester. We will also have more orders coming in for other areas that might have been missed during this first phase of ordering, but we will be rolling out the benches and Founders in Sierra Hall this semester, so we're excited about that so that our students don't have to sit on the floor anymore. Our new welcome center. We will be rolling out a new welcome center over in the student center in the Fireside Lounge space, so we have furniture going in there and the rotunda, and then you will see new furniture coming into the Student Services Building, Library, Science Community Center, and Sierra Hall. On the next page, we have the Additional facilities updates that are happening. You may or may not have noticed we have a new electronic marquee outside here on Pack. We also have one on Tully. We have 2 more on West Campus, one on Blue Gum and one on Brink. We are running into some electrical issues with those, but our facilities and our contractors are working to get those up and running. We have the donor recognition display that was approved by the Resource Allocation and Facilities Committee last year. The foundation is working hard to get that done, finalizing some design phases, and you will see that hopefully at the beginning of the calendar year or sometime in spring being built in the quad. And then we have the campus maps. Along with the 3D maps, we will be replacing the displays that are around this campus, as well as adding additional directional signage to West Campus as well as East Campus. We're doing a large space utilization audit right now. We are walking all of the buildings, looking at all of the rooms. With our new programs that are coming on, a lot of them require specific space. And we want to make sure that we are identifying the appropriate spaces for these programs to be able to have the most impact for our students so that they really do truly feel that they belong here on campus and that they will be successful in their journey. So you'll see maybe some new spaces popping up in terms of programs going on to maybe West where they were on East, or just changing rooms and buildings. So we're doing that audit as we go. On the next slide, just a quick college technology update. Our student computer loan program is up and running again. We did have to take a pause during the summer to address security concerns with those laptops, and we are now deploying those laptops again this semester. When you send students to the library to pick them up, please make sure that you let them know it's going to take a little bit longer to prepare that computer for them. And it's basically just to make sure that our computers have that security risk reduced. So I'm hearing it's taking about 30 minutes for each distribution of the computer. So again, when you're sending students to the library to pick those computers up, please make sure you let them know to have enough time to pick up that piece of equipment. And then this fall, you will see a college technology replacement plan come through your different councils. This was important for the College Technology Committee to prepare, both from an accreditation perspective, but also just from an operational perspective. And then this plan will help us know what technology needs to be updated, when, how much it's going to cost, so we don't end up in situations where we have equipment failures. So those are the projects we have going on through our area. Thank you.
Hey. So, excited to be getting started on another year. I've been doing enrollment updates and sending them out to you. You will see a dip. Dr. Wilson mentioned we had to drop some students for non-payment. So this week's number kind of dropped a little more than Chancellor Young mentioned from Columbia College. But those students are still going to be in your classrooms, on your wait lists, trying to get back into classes. What we found is that when students are dropped for non-payment, they turn right back around and try to get back into classes. And demand is interesting right now. We have a lot of students wanting to be in our classes. Their classes are fuller than they've been recently. The wait lists are longer, which is all fantastic, but it doesn't necessarily provide opportunities for those students to get back in. We'll be looking at some late start GE classes as ways to grab some of those additional students and provide opportunities for them. All right, slides. All right, belong, learn, and thrive. As we think about belonging, I was listening to Dr. Wilson talk about the work the Student Services team is doing to help our students feel part of the schools. And each of our schools has its own culture, its own areas of emphasis, but the way they do things. And we just want to encourage each school to lean into that. I was talking with Jesus Navarro earlier, and maybe our school is not going to have an integration bee like the math folks are going to have, but that's a great way for the math students to get connected to one another and to build cohesion as a team and as a school. We're looking at different outreach opportunities. Dr. Wilson talked about bringing students to from the high school to the campus. The The Jam and Jive dance celebration, you saw this great dance performance earlier, and Jam and Jive is this opportunity for high school dance teams to come in and be part of the college community and come to the campus. Well, the history department decided to go down that road, and they're going to be hosting the history competition for Stanislaus County Office of Education. So each of us has those opportunities to reach out to our folks, but also to reach out to each other and to draw together. One of our meetings, we went to, Sarah and I had a chance to go to a variety of different school meetings yesterday, and in one of those meetings someone asked, well, what's happening kind of from the college level to get people together? And I thought, hey, Friday morning you can all come out here and we'll have some coffee, donuts, and lunch afterwards. But there's other things that schools can do as subgroups, and really want to encourage that grassroots movement of people coming together and being in each other's lives and building that community that we're still trying to nurture back. So that's part of the belonging. You heard mention of the success hubs, and then the top piece, wow, 40 new faculty or so, I keep losing track of the number. Welcome. Welcome, you're part of a fantastic group, and we are thrilled to have you with us. For a couple of board meetings last year, I gave these presentations on the faculty obligation number. We call them Fun with Vaughn. It's a tribute, you get it. Our Vaughn number actually went down this year, and it was providing an interesting thing. We strove for this really large number, and then with state budgets the way they were, the obligation number has fallen. But this is a fantastic opportunity that we've taken advantage of. We've regrown the faculty of Modesto Junior College. We backfilled the areas where we were just really needed people to be in. Areas that without that moment of needing to meet the fawn obligation, we may not have been able to fill. In the next couple of years, that's probably, just keeping it real like Chad was doing earlier, it's probably going to mean there's not a lot of opportunity for positions in the next couple of years. But we did it this year, and I'm thrilled about it. And I'm proud to see you all here and excited to kick off the year. All right, next slide. All right, learning. On Tuesday morning, Giselle and I had a really cool presentation with a small group of folks, and we're going to talk to the curriculum committee next. We're going to talk to departments as they are interested in this about, well, how about this? We have, as Chad said, 2,000 associate degrees a year, more or less, but only 149 certificates per year. What if we try and strive to find ways for half of those students to get a certificate in their first year and then an associate degree in their second year? Or if they're a part-time student, a certificate partway on their journey, and then the associate degree on the back end. Well, just by increasing from 149 to about 1,000 certificates will increase our revenue by $1 million for our district. That requires program redesign. It's the next phase of Guided Pathways. We've done excellent work with Guided Pathways and to get to this point, but we've got a lot of awards, and which one leads to which one is still very confusing. I can't understand it in looking at the catalog. So we need to work on making those pathways more clear to our students and show them how to get to the end point and the awards that they can get along the way. So that's something that's going to require us to work together. Once those are built, it becomes, scheduling becomes more secure. So let's just say that we have these really tight programs. And as Modesto Junior College, we put them in the catalog and we promise, do these courses for these 2 years and you'll be done in 2 years and you can transfer or go get a job. We have to hold that promise. If we can make our programs tight enough that the capstone courses have to be offered for our students to complete, then those are removed from the realm of cancellation. But for us to be able to afford to do that, we have to have those introductory classes with strong enrollments and sufficient numbers of students on the front end to populate those back-end courses. So that's our goal on the administrative side. On the instructional administrative side is to build those big dog programs, schedule toward those, and ensure that the front-end flow gets enough students there towards the capstone courses. And then something that we're going to be working on with the Academic Senate this year is the academic integrity policy, because it's a new world. What does that look like? We don't have that. An instructor sent a note, hey, do we have a policy on academic integrity and artificial intelligence? And we don't. So let's talk that through together and get an initial version. We know that this whole field is going to evolve over the next several years, but let's get something down as a starting point and take it forward. Move on to Thrive, please. All right. Mention our FTS counts. We're continuing to grow. Right up until this week, we were doing fantastic. Our numbers, we're trying to get to roughly recoup half of where we were pre-pandemic, the remaining gap. And we were ahead of that goal. Took a little dip, but we're going to be back up there because the same students are coming back to us. So that should be really strong. Again, we're working on making our programs and pathways more clear to students. Because if they can see the end of the journey, it's easier to stick it out when things get tough. And as we go along, we're going to continue working on closing our equity gaps. You'll hear me talking about enrollment management. That's all about just increasing the average size, increasing our average class size in order to afford the things that we really need on those capstone courses. So things are going well. We are improving on all these enrollment management metrics. Things are going well. I want to commend the deans. They've been having hard conversations about class cancellations and tightening up schedules and nesting things together. It's been difficult, but the work is supporting those goals of student completion in the back end. So thank you all for your time, and I think it's time for someone.
Buenos días, colegas. Good morning, colleagues. I'm also excited about the verbs of belonging, learning, and thriving because those require action. So if we can go to belonging first. So what's really important is to be connected. We were coming off of a pandemic where we didn't really see each other from here down, which for me I was actually happy about. That COVID-20 was great, but for a lot of us we missed that connection, and so it's really important to come back and remember how much we enjoy each other. I had the pleasure of getting to know and meet over 30 new full-time faculty members at new faculty orientation this past week. And where's Brandon Shutt? Sorry to call you out, Brandon. So Brandon asked a really important question, and he said, what kind of things does the Academic Senate have for faculty to engage socially? And we all looked at each other and said, well, nothing. So congratulations, Brandon. You are now appointed as the chair of the Engagement and Social Activities Committee. You learn really quickly that if you have a good idea, I'll give you something to do. So be careful what you say in front of me. But being connected is important, and I really want to make sure that the academics support us having fun together, because if we're enjoying ourselves, our students see this as a fun place to be, and they start to see that they can also enjoy themselves in college as well. Be valued. So many of us do so much behind the scenes without any expectation of credit. And so one of the things that my amazing colleague Aisha Salas started was a faculty newsletter spotlighting a faculty member each month from our Senate, so recommendations from other faculty. What we'd like to do is expand that and tell us what you're doing. It doesn't have to be within our institution, because we know so many of you are doing things for our community. So please share with us so we can highlight you in a newsletter. Another thing that is important is to be heard. Advocacy is so important to me personally. If you don't know, my background is in special education and inclusion, and so advocacy is my bones. So we want to make sure that the faculty voice is heard in all things 10+1. So if you have something that you need support in advocating for, please come to the Senate. We want you to know that the Senate is your home, and we are here for you to support you in all of those things. So, learning. So the first thing that's so important is to clarify. I don't want faculty to feel like I felt in my entire first year as a new full-time instructor, where I would sit in meetings where it was one acronym after another, and I had no idea what was being talked about. And no one explained it. And I had to whisper and ask a question and say, what does that mean? Or, because so many of us experience imposter syndrome, never ask and never know. And And so we want to demystify those acronyms. We want to make sure that people not only know how to read data, but how to use data. And we're working with our pre-office to make sure that that data is current and relevant, and it's what we're asking for. So we have excellent people in our pre-office, so we're so excited to collaborate with them. We also want to make sure that we're creating opportunities for professional development. We have, here's one of those acronyms, our AFPDI committee. So if you're wondering what that stands for, it's our annual Faculty Professional Development Institute. And I really commend that committee because they put the word annual in it, because we really want to make sure that this is something that happens every single year, and it's an expectation. Yes. So part of that advocacy is making sure that that's meaningful. We got great feedback about what you hope to see in the next AFPDI event, and we're looking forward to integrating that feedback. If you're interested in participating in that group, please contact the Senate office. As you've learned, I like appointing people. It's one of those powers that I really enjoy. I think I need a wand to start appointing people. Another thing that's also really important is to collaborate. We have expertise in this room just bursting at the seams, and I want to make sure that there's opportunities that we're supported in sharing that expertise, that you can connect with each other, and in a space that you can teach and learn. So a teaching and learning center has been a top priority since I first started 7 years ago, and it's been advocated for, and we get so close, and then it doesn't happen. And so we're really trying to push for that center to happen so that we have a space to connect with each other, collaborate, come up with some really creative ways to engage our students in and out of the classroom. Next, please. Thriving. So, in thriving, it starts within. It starts at the individual level. We're dealing with a lot of trauma with our students, but we also are dealing with a lot of trauma within ourselves. A lot of us experience loss over the past few years. A lot of us experience illness, and it's important to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of the students who we serve. And so a priority is wellness and self-care. I promise I will start practicing what I preach as well, because I'm not the best example, but I want to be there with you, and I want to start in those self-care practices together. So that's going to be another priority of the Senate, is making sure that we can take care of ourselves and check in on each other so that we can best serve our students. And then thriving as a program. You are in charge of your curriculum. You have so much agency as faculty to say and what your program should look like. And so our goal is to, we already started to revamp the curriculum review process, so it's now going to be a 3-semester review process where our focus is training faculty to know how to use Lumen. I know it's a naughty word sometimes for some of you, but to really make sure that you feel confident in making curricular changes and coming to the curriculum committee to propose those changes so that we can get our students into programs and completions in an efficient way. And then as an institution, so there's always that big elephant in the room. We've been broken up with a lot in administration, and we're healing from those breakups. And so I really want to emphasize that we have an amazing administrative team right now who really cares about our students and who have really great ideas. I've never heard faculty speak more positively about a president than we have with Chad Redwing. I mean, come on. Although I have to say, I thought we were moving towards a smoke-free campus, so I'm going to talk to you about that one. But it really is important to have a strong leadership team so that we could really push some of those changes, those positive changes towards equity and anti-racism. And so we want to make sure that some of those procedures and policies are institutionalized so that we don't have to start over anytime we get a new administrator. As a community, I mean, I'm not gonna do that alone, but thank you. As a community, discover ways to reconnect with our community. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of us are already doing things to partner with organizations within our community. We live in an area with the lowest educational attainment, and I really see that it's because there's a lack of visibility. Yes, we're this big building, but are we actually putting ourselves within the community? Are we talking to store owners and people at the restaurants? Are we talking to schools? Are we connecting with our K-12 system? Are we connecting with our young children, our pregnant individuals? Are we connecting with the people that we serve? And so I'm excited to support faculty in finding creative ways to connect with our community. And lastly, I just want to say that I look forward to having the Classified Professional Senate join me up here at that institution. Okay.
Great, thank you, Giselle and Brian and Andrea and Sarah for demonstrating why.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure, of course.
Regarding variety, we will also be getting a new PD and Penelope this year. So complete makeover, up to date, but we will reveal the new PD and Penelope sometime this semester as well.
Good, thank you. So you see why I'm excited about our team. This is an important part of our leadership team. I also want to give a quick shout out to other parts of our leadership team that make today possible. Thanks to Sabrina and Jeanette, the foundation and the research office for all of your support. Thanks to Rob and Jackie for today, as well as Ty and Kevin. Thank you, and your teams. Thank you, Chancellor, for joining us today. And thank you, Kim, and the dancers who are going to start the show again shortly. But I do want to say just two quick things out of the President's office. We do have some funds set aside this year for culturally relevant pedagogy, and in past experience, those kinds of innovations lead to huge changes in opportunity gaps and completion rates for students. So there's additional support for you as you go about doing your work. There's also going to be a survey that goes out to you today to garner your ideas on how we address these main issues of completion and opportunity gaps. And so we hope to hear from you after today and after tacos. But I think maybe the one thing that's missing is, Ty, could we possibly bring up the House? So there is one last thing, and then we're done with our administrative role here. But there's one last reason that I'm really excited, and I think we can have a wonderful, transformative semester. First, I'm going to invoke William James, who, as you know, is the first philosopher, late 19th century philosopher, taught the first psychology class in the United States of America. So, seems like a good source of inspiration. And he says you need to do three things to change. You need to, number one, start immediately. Number two, do it flamboyantly. And number three, no exceptions. So, the last reason I'm really excited about the year, there are a lot of us who are in new roles. So if you could please stand up, if you find yourself in a new role at this college in the last year, that includes, if we just hired you as a faculty member, full or part-time, a new classified professional, a new leadership team member, if you're new in a new role, even though you were here before, would you please stand up? This is why I'm excited about our semester. Thank you again.
All right, everyone. So you've been hearing a lot of talk about belong, learn, and thrive. And it is centered around wellness. And I am referring to 6 dimensions of wellness, and I'm not going to get into all of it because we do it all the time. But part of feeling belonging is you got to have the right attitude. So as I see your smiles and as I see your welcoming attitude, we create that belonging environment. So, one of the things we're gonna do, my family always tells me, Jackie, you always walking around here with a beat. So guess what? We're getting ready to create a beat. And it's gonna be real simple. This is a way of how we're going to create belonging. Now, I'm gonna stomp, and then you guys find your beat. Okay, y'all ready? Okay, here we go. All right, good job, y'all. Keep that up.
All right, up next we have Emily Lawrence, the Executive Director of the MJC Foundation.
Good morning. We'll see if it works. No comments from Jeanette. She knows how my technology and I get along, which is not well. So welcome back, everyone. I have marked 1 year now with MJC and the Foundation, and I'm very excited for what this next year will bring. The MJC Foundation Board has been hard at work this year. We've created our strategic plan, outlining the Foundation mission, vision, and values, as well as our goals for the next 3 years. As a foundation, our mission is to function as the philanthropic liaison between our community, campus programs, and students. So there's been a lot of talk of belonging and learning and thriving. The foundation grows and evolves just like the college does. Part of our strategic planning was to take the pulse of our community about the MJC Foundation. There was an overwhelming lack of awareness out there. Very humbling for an organization that has been around since the 60s. In this process, I've also tried to capture our internal perception of the foundation, and that is also less clear and less understood as I would like. So, in the course of our strategic planning, this confusion about the connection, how does the foundation relate to the college, and where do we align? This is a very superficial look at what we do and what we do not do. We want to say, our new slogan this year is that we are a students first foundation. That is our focus. That will help us drive our efforts, allocate our dollars, and refine our vision. This does mean that the efforts of the foundation are evolving. We are the outward facing arm of the college with the goal of sharing all of the fantastic things we do here for our students in the greater community. And I was really glad that Giselle brought up the connection to community. That's the job of the foundation. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that the community understands what all of you do and how fantastic the work is and how they need to help us and help us get students returning back to campus, help us by supporting our programs and our efforts. And the foundation has an instrumental role in that. And part of what I do and part of what the board helps me do is to create those solid community foundations. It really goes a long way. And so I'll give one example that we've been working on. So we have the resurgence of our FTVE program this year. That's formerly journalism that many of you know was cut several years ago. Part of what this resurgence means and part of what we do in the foundation is to find where the community can connect with this. So several things were happening sort of disparately, and I found myself right in the middle of it. So I didn't know that FTVE was coming back. I did receive a very fantastic endowment from one of our very well-meaning community members for journalism. And I thought, what am I going to do? We don't have journalism. What am I going to do with this giant endowment for journalism in a program that doesn't exist? Similarly, at the same time, Stanislaus Community Foundation, one of our community partners, was working on supporting local journalism and creating a Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, of which there were going to be several hubs. As all of this started to evolve and conversations started to happen, I find out FTVE is happening. Our endowed scholarship funder decides that they are more than happy to support the start of that program and dedicate some funds toward equipment and startup costs and getting things like stipends for students while they are still here going. Stanislaus Community Foundation came on board and decided, wouldn't it be great if Modesto Junior College could be the Modesto hub for the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative? So all of these things are in the works, and it will mean that our programs are extremely successful and that we can get our students out there into the community and have community support. So one of our main efforts is student scholarships. The majority of the funding we receive is actually restricted for specific student scholarships. We gave over $300,000 in scholarships at our scholarship ceremony 2 weeks ago. And one of the unique features of MJC, and many of you have heard this over the last week, heard me say this, is our application process. We are a single application for all college. That is very different and unique. A lot of other colleges have multiple applications, different essays, different criteria. It's a little bit overwhelming for students. Ours is a single application. We are working to make sure that that is a true statement. We have a few little outliers. I'm working around them all up so that our message is very clear. It's one application for all. This makes the process very simple and direct for students. But despite the ease of the application process, I've been talking about these statistics for about a month now. So, last year, our scholarship application process is open from October until January. Last year, we had 1,090 students begin the application process. Now, in our overall population, correct me again, Brian, 18 to 20,000 students, we only had 1,090 students even begin the application process. Of those 1,090 students, only 271 students actually completed the application. That is a terrible number. Chad was talking about numbers a little bit earlier. That's a terrible number. One we hope to start growing, however. So we know their pain points. We know where they're tripping up. And we are going to do some things this year. We're going to roll out some new messaging this fall in order to increase those numbers. We have a lot of scholarships available for students, and a lot of them don't realize it. Many obviously don't take advantage of the application process, so we want to remediate that. Some things we're doing, like I said, we're doing some new messaging. So we're going to do some social media things, we're going to try some different avenues to reach the students, but also in the messaging of what the criteria are for scholarships, because a lot of students that pass in and out of the foundation don't feel like they would ever qualify. They have no idea that you don't have to fit in a certain box to qualify for a scholarship. So we're going to try to message that a little bit more clearly. Student assistance. We know their pain points. We know that the essay flummoxes a lot of students. We know that getting letters of recommendation is really sort of a pain point for students. So we're going to do some workshops this fall. We're going to have some emails out to faculty to promote the application period. We've got some new messaging techniques to where we can send a message out from the foundation. If, for example, you have a student recommendation that's sort of sitting in your email box, may have gone to spam, may go somewhere else. That's one of the biggest apprehension points for students is, but I sent the instructor my recommendation and they haven't responded. They don't know how much to harass you. They don't know when to drop in on you and say, hey, I need that recommendation. We're going to help them out a little bit with that. We have a new award timeline. So the application process has always been October to January. We're going to keep that. Students are comfortable with that. But our award ceremony hasn't been until the following fall. We just had it a week and a half ago. And so we're going to push that to the spring so that it is sort of within the school year where we have applications and awards. And maybe that will make it a little bit clearer to students about what they're applying for. We do have a lot of transfer scholarships that are also available, which those students will still get their awards, but we want to accommodate the students who are here with us. So this also means we need your help. We will need additional faculty and staff on our scholarship review committee. The time frame will be February through April instead of over the summer, so it's a little bit more of an impactful time period. We know this, but in the long run it will make a much greater reception for our scholarships for our students. So if you're interested in being on the Scholarship Review Committee, it is a very rewarding process. Having gone through it for the first time last year, I was amazed at the stories. Our students undergo and face a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. A lot of them are following their passions. A lot of them are doing everything they can to put one foot in front of the other every day. And so these scholarship stories are heartrending. They're very impactful. And so we realize there's a lot of need out there and there are a lot of students working really, really hard. So if you are interested in being on the review committee, please let me know. And a thank you and a shout out to 2 of our new faculty who've already volunteered. And I'm just going to say, Giselle, you can only have half of Brandon because he's on our scholarship review committee. So, our next thing that we do our employee giving campaign. This is our Halloween competition. So we will again this year be holding our employee giving campaign during October. We will have a Halloween themed contest. We are Halloween zealots in the foundation. So prepare yourselves for another onslaught of emails from me for appeals for the month of October. We have many staff and faculty who contribute to the foundation through monthly giving. We appreciate that consistent and steadfast support. As we roll out our new website next month, there will be some easy ways to enroll in things like payroll deduction, if that's something you're interested in. The Employee Giving Campaign earmarks funds by donor-designated school, group, or program, and 100% of those funds go right back to the college to support the things that you do. Pirate Microgrants. This is one of the bigger changes coming out of the foundation this year. The Pirate Microgrant program was started years ago by Sam Piersdorf. I don't know if he's out there today. Yes. It started with a student in his class who was doing really well, and all of a sudden things went a little south. Started to slide academically. The relationship was such that Sam was comfortable approaching this student and learned that the student needed a battery for his car. Couldn't get to school. Sort of threw off his entire academic trajectory, not being able to get here. That story, a fundraising run, some like-minded donors later, and the Pirate Microgrant program began. This year we're rolling out Pirate Microgrants in October. Why October? Well, that's so the critical relationship between staff and faculty and student can happen. This is a key piece to this emergency funding because it is truly for emergencies. It's broken glasses, it's lost phones, it's crashed computers and flat tires, and lost bus passes. There are additional new criteria in that each staff or faculty will be able to submit an application for one student. Students will only be able to receive one Pirate Microgrant during their time here, and as always, students may not self-refer. The other change is in our funding programs for projects that support groups of students on campus. There is a professional development committee that looks at professional development support. You've heard a lot of talk about professional development. There are a lot of new things that are rolling out from the college on that. So the foundation is introducing faculty and staff Pirate Microgrants. These grants are to enhance activities, programs, and experiences for groups of students. The support aligns with the directions of the foundation's strategic plan, and all of this will also roll out in October. October is a big month for the foundation. And as our website will also relaunch and rebrand with some of these new guidelines. So now on to the part you've all been waiting for. The Purdy Award has a long and distinguished list of MJC personnel whose characteristics have impressed their colleagues, their friends, and most of all, our students. Established in 1995 by Raymond and Carolyn Purdy, this award recognizes distinguished performance and excellence in teaching in the faculty ranks, and excellence of service in the classified and management sectors. This award is so appropriate at Institute Day because it really helps us to set the tone of the upcoming year. This year, the Foundation Board did the honors for selection of the Purdy Award. All of the Foundation Board have significant ties to the college. Some are retired instructors, some have been longtime staff members, and others are vested in this community and thus in the college and its programs. It is my great honor to present these awards. The first award today, going out for a classified professional, is well-deserved and came reinforced with nomination after nomination. This person was described as a superhero, an asset to our program, an advocate for their department. This person never says no. Jenny Macias and Kimberly Montague agreed that this person is amazing, helpful, knowledgeable, and always willing to help students and faculty. Allison Sampson added that this person is a great member of the Modesto community, supporting many community service needs. And Brian Forbes added that this person is positive and takes on challenges with a positive attitude. And to round out the cast of nominators for this outstanding classified individual, Sally Chafee said, "This person stepped up spring semester to fill a huge void left by a promoted individual. In addition to normal full-time duties, this person set up for the simulations, assisted faculty in running the mannequins, and also the video equipment. In case you have not already guessed, our 2023 Classified Professional Purdy Award winner is Juan Garcia." also had many nominations, and their character traits in and out of the classroom demonstrate their commitment to students and the college. There were traits like innovative, unique, exemplary, dedicated, and active. This person has also assumed a number of roles around the college. Nancy Backlund considers this person a friend as well as a colleague, and shares that they have had many great conversations regarding student success. These conversations have included their shared students and the great respect they have for this person. Linda Kropp and Leslie Vaughn both sent in lists of the additional duties, committees, club advisor positions, and volunteer activities that this person has done that are too long to include, as I would get pulled off the stage. Barbara Salerno commented, "This person is dedicated to continuous improvement for themselves and the department, earning a doctorate in education to better serve students in the college." Isn't that what we are all about at MJC? Continuous improvement and lifelong learning? These are clearly the characteristics possessed by the 2023 Faculty Professional of the Year Purdy Award winner, Nancy Sill. To recognize and celebrate these outstanding individuals. Another round of applause. And I would like to turn the day over to Patrick Betancourt and Mike Smithhammer.
Before we get to the Online Instructor of the Year Award, I want to ask, is Colleen Lindbergh out there? I can't see, but maybe she's not. Okay, when you see Colleen later today, I wanted to recognize her because she does so much, including making this award possible. But today is her 15th year anniversary working at MJC. So, send her a message or say hello. So since 2014, students and faculty have nominated the MJC Online Instructor of the Year. The instructor should be recognized for creating an outstanding online experience for our students and contributing to the online program of MJC. Past recipients include Jenny Long, Jesus Navarro, Jessica Brennan, Tony Pacheco, Nita Gopal, Steve Miller, Rob Stevenson, Amy Duffy, Kim Duran, and Becky Gaines.
This year, there were an amazing 242 heartfelt nominations. Today we have the honor of presenting the award to a team of 2 wonderful, dedicated faculty members who do a fantastic job using technology to humanize their online courses.
The 2 faculty we are recognizing are people whose dedication and personal experiences are hailed by their students as a source of inspiration. Many of their personal experiences and lessons learned in the field are woven into their course modules and influence how they connect with students.
One student states the fact that one of the instructors is he's real and upfront about his experiences in the field makes it easy to learn from him. You can ask him anything and he will give you an honest answer. Another noted that, "I believe my instructor has done everything well in conducting this course. They are very passionate about the material and their personal connections to the topic make the material easier to comprehend. They are very supportive and offer a lot of help."
For others, the level of honesty received from these instructors was something they greatly appreciated. To quote a student, He is reaching into his own psyche to deliver on his real-life experiences. He's someone I look up to and strive to emulate. And another says, I have immense respect for Captain. He is stern but compassionate. He exemplifies the absolute standard of character and respect, but not at the cost of fear, to listen to what your true needs are. Captain also has a vigorous and continuously growing stance on mental health and fortitude that I respect and never have seen with any other instructor.
Their vulnerability clearly has left an impact. Heard again and again from their students was that they are very honest and open about the realities of the job. Personal stories help enhance lectures and make them more relatable and memorable, but I appreciate that they don't shy away from the more serious stuff and encourage the importance of getting support and help if needed. So as you might guess by now, these two instructors are a dynamic team, putting everything they have into their work in the field and for MJC. They were outstanding participants in the online cohort and advanced online construction courses, and have served as mentors to fellow instructors in the fire science and EMS training programs. Their willingness to share their work and lead by example is a model we strive to follow.
So the online 2023 Instructors of the Year are
Louis and Michelle Marua. They're a fantastic team. They're not with us right now, but we'll be sure to deliver the award to them. Thank you very much.
So I hope you can indulge us, but we've gone a tiny bit long, and that means that we would lose our second dance performance if we don't do it right now. So we're gonna do it. Please stay in your seats for just one more thing, and then I promise we'll take a break right after that. Please welcome back to the stage, MJC Dance.
Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide.
This is how we do it.
Hello? I just wanted to hold them for 1 second. This is the School of Arts, Performance, and the Humanities. Perfect example of Belong, Learn, and Thrive. Kim and her dance team, they surround these students. Mary Riley in costume design and the production team. Matea Overstreet doing music. They surround this group, and I see them every day at the end of the hallway that my office is in. Belonging, creating community, learning, and thriving. So just to embarrass you all for a second, the only community college to be included this year at the National Gala is MJC Dance. They were also invited back for a second time to Jacob's Pillow in Beckett, Massachusetts. We don't know anybody else who's been invited a second time. MJC Dance, everybody. So let's take 10. Thank you for indulging us. All right. Well, that's some exciting stuff. Okay, so we have a smaller second half now that we've moved dance to the first half, so don't worry. A little more streamlined. So I wanted to let you know that we've got somebody coming to the stage who's going to introduce Caring Campus, a new initiative that is starting with classified professionals and then moving out throughout the institution. So one of the reasons I'm so excited is that they have decided that we should have a classified senate. And it's going to be innovative at this school. So if you can please help me welcome Rebecca Cadillo from Accounting and Business Services. She's going to give you a little introduction to Caring Campus.
Hello and good morning. I need to point this down. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rebecca Cadill, and I am an accounting technician with the MJC Business Services Department, which is located on this campus in the Student Services Building. So today I am honored to represent the newly established MJC Caring Campus Work Group, and excited to present to you our plan to elevate the student experience at Modesto Junior College. So the Institute for Evidence-Based Change is a nonprofit organization whose focus is on creating database solutions for educational concerns, such as declining community college enrollment. Based on their research, they found students who feel more connected to their college are more likely to be retained, persist, and complete their academic goals. The IEBC created the Caring Campus Initiative and began rolling that out in 2018. MJC requested to partner with the IEBC to take part in this culture-changing program, and we were approved to join the 2023 summer cohort. Beginning in May, select classified employees got to work on creating Caring Campus by attending IEBC-led coaching sessions, creating a plan to institutionalize behavioral change, and began introducing this initiative to the MJC community. So our mission drives everything that MJC Caring Campus has done and will continue to do in the future. And it states, MJC Caring Campus advocates to create a student-centered environment where positive, intentional, campus-wide behaviors influence student engagement, connectedness, and academic success. So with this mission in mind, we present to you our 5 founding commitments for employee behaviors in action, and these include our 10-foot rule, a commitment to employee identification, cross-departmental awareness, generating warm referrals, and first week greetings. Sorry, I have 2 buttons to push here. Okay, so the 10-foot rule is our commitment to initiate contact with students we see around campus. Making our presence known facilitates a positive, welcoming, and inclusive environment for students and visitors, and demonstrates our commitment to their success. This can be put into action by greeting students around campus, assign someone to greet students at the door at high traffic areas, and take advantage of opportunities to interact with our students on campus during activities like Flow, Welcome Week, New Student Day. Our employee identification commitment is an actionable commitment to identify ourselves as employees and stand out among students. Sharing who we are gives our students the chance to establish a resource on campus and us an opportunity to strengthen the relationship between the student themselves and the college. Wearing our name tags, using our names on all virtual and phone interactions, and including email signatures on all outgoing messages and replies are easy ways to identify ourselves. Cross-departmental awareness is a commitment to educate ourselves in order to educate our students. Sharing news about our departments, updating our material, making time to meet with each other are effective ways to share what we do, who we are, and how we can help. When we pass on accurate information, we are helping our students be successful now so that they can take accountability and initiative to address their needs in the future. Generating warm referrals is the act of guiding a student to their next step as a way to show students they are cared for and prioritized. We create warm referrals by walking students to their next resource, calling ahead to the next department they may need to visit, or providing written instructions with any next steps that they need to take with clear directions. And finally, our commitment to provide first week greetings means welcoming students outside of our typical workspaces. This intentional employee behavior aims to foster a welcoming environment and is a show of support and dedication to their success. Department programs and schools are encouraged to host a table at Welcome Week, and employees, faculty, and leadership are encouraged to make themselves identifiable so students can find help quickly and easily during this high-stakes period. Cultivating a culture of caring begins with a shift in our mindset, reframing the way we think about our time with students as a chance to educate and collaborate rather than to serve. Secondly, practice makes progress. Implementing these commitments into your daily routine and student interactions will become habit over time and create the positive change we're after. And third, create genuine connection when interacting with our students. We can do this by checking in with ourselves and only giving away what we can spare. A genuine experience full of empathy and kindness is more important than enthusiasm. The MJC Caring Campus Work Group will take these next steps to create and implement action and institutionalize our commitments. Our first step is to kick off Caring Campus with classified staff, and this is currently underway. The Institute for Evidence-Based Change found when classified teams take on the creation of Caring Campus, the initiative can most effectively become a part of institutional change. Next, we'll put Caring Campus into action. We can be found at Welcome Week and WestFest. Planned events like our Ask Me Anything series will be announced soon, and look for our Caring Campus newsletters in your inbox. And third, as we move through Spring 24, we will be working to bring faculty and leadership into the fold. These opportunities will be announced in the coming months. So at this point, if I could ask my fellow MJC Caring Campus Work Group members to please stand up. I know you're all out there. And please help me to thank Dr. Redwing and Dr. Schrader for the opportunity to lead change on our campus. And thank you to our direct leadership for providing us the time and space to do this important work. And lastly, thanks to all of you for your time. Have a good day.
All right, thank you very, very much, Rebecca. And to you, classified staff, you rock. all of the leadership managers. We're so happy. You guys make all of us feel like we belong. So I'm going to break down the second idea for this theme, and that is learn. And to create a learning environment, we got to act like we mean it, okay? And that means it's all about how we come across. It's perception, it's our intent behind our efforts, it is how we show care to one another as well as to our students. So this quick activity that I'm going to do is designed to remind us during those hectic times, especially when the beginning of the semester starts, or we have some challenges that we're trying to help students through, I want to encourage us and to remind all of us to remember to take a deep breath. So this is a quick breathing exercise. Now again, I don't know how to sit still for very long, and I certainly don't know how to be quiet for even longer. But for this exercise, the design and the goal is for you to train your mind to relax. So here's how it's going to work. I am going to count to 3, Jackie way. So I'm going to count to 3, and when I count to 3, what I want you to do is take 3 breaths, breathing out really hard. The goal is to release those endorphins and all of that negative energy, okay? So it's almost like you're panting, but you're controlling it. It is really quick. It seems crazy when you're not used to it. But trust me, you're going to feel a lot better, okay? So I will demonstrate. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go, okay? And that's it. There's nothing to it, but you want to do this throughout the day. Not in front of your colleagues, because it could come across that you are upset with them. But this is a personal commitment to yourself to get rid of negative energy. And it only takes a few seconds, but the goal is you make this a habit to get rid of negative energy. And we all somehow bring it together from a very busy schedule. We don't breathe right, our diaphragm is not working well because we're going from one task to the other. So again, learning is about how we can create the environment, cultivate the environment for everyone to feel included. Okay, so that energy, we gotta bring it. So I'm gonna count to 3. 1, I said, is MJC. 2, come on, it's MJC. 3, breathe. All right. I know you feel a little bit better because I can see it on your faces. Good job, okay? All right, that's it for learning. So remember, we want to create this environment of being welcoming and inclusive so that learning can take place in our offices as well as in the classroom. So shout out to all of you. So now I have the honor to introduce our main speaker for the evening. And it is our own Dr. Cheryl Williams Jackson. Dr. Cheryl Williams Jackson is a renowned college professor with expertise in human services, child development, and psychology. She has obtained advanced qualifications in clinical and educational psychology. For 27 years, she has taught in the California Community College System, with 23 of those years right here at MJC. In addition to her academic roles, Dr. Williams Jackson has devoted 11 years to Alameda Family Services, undertaking various positions such as therapist, DEI coordinator, and clinical facilitator. In these roles, she aids budding clinical psychologists and therapists in their internship. Dr. Cheryl Williams Jackson is also the founder of WJ Developmental, a consultancy through which she is retained by organizations aiming to heighten their awareness of mental wellness and integrate a DEI cultural perspective into their operations. She frequently leads training sessions and delivers keynote addresses across the nation emphasizing mental wellness, diversity, equity, and inclusion within educational and mental health spheres. In 2015, as a Sims Man Fellow, she honed her expertise in trauma-informed care for educational settings. Recognized for her knowledge, she contributed as a subject matter expert to the California Surgeon General's expert panel, which recently released Safe Spaces, Foundations of Trauma-Informed Practice for Educational Settings. Currently, Dr. Williams Jackson sits on the advisory panel tasked with developing the California Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation System. This system aims to upskill existing mental health clinicians, equipping them to cater specifically to children's ages 1 through 6. Her unwavering commitment to mental wellness and fostering equity and inclusion is evident throughout all of her roles. Everyone, please help me to welcome our own Professor Dr. Cheryl Williams Jackson.
Hello, everyone. Give me just a second. I'm so glad I can't see you. Give me just a second. All right, this is when I go into the classroom, I always bring my self-care kit. Let's see, fan check. Woo. It's pretty hot in here. Clock, all right, time myself, make sure I stay on task. All right. And there's one more thing that I need to do, and that is to breathe. But I need you to help me with that. So if you take your hand and just hold your hand up like this, and what I want you to do is take your other hand and you're gonna breathe. You're gonna go up and you're gonna breathe in as you do that, and then stop, and then breathe out, and you're just gonna do that. And while you do that, I'm stalling, just so you know. But I want you to just keep breathing for me. I'm gonna set up my iPad here. But that is something that I do teach the students, is how different ways to remember to deep breathe. All right. So, yeah, I want to take you all on a journey. And this journey is around living, learning, and thriving. And whenever you see the word living, I'm talking about that because we're humans, living is all about us belonging. So, good morning to you, the esteemed colleagues, faculty, and staff, our trustees and administrators. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge my deepest appreciation and gratitude to the Yucas and the Sierra Miwoks, whose land we have the honor and the gift of living, learning, and thriving upon. Also, as you know, we have Umoja on campus, and it was taught to us by the great Smith and Ivory. We are to ask the elders to give us permission to proceed. So I am asking for that permission right now. Thank you, sir. All right. So I'm sure by now, those of you who know me, you know I'm from New Orleans. And I have to tell you, the porch is something that brings a great amount of wisdom and conversations. It also allows me to relax, because when I start talking, I always think about what I learned and what we did on the porch. What kinds of conversations came in, and how we learned how to live our lives. In Umoja, we even have a principle about the importance of the porch. I want to invite you all to the porch and join me in this conversation. Plus, it will help to relax me, okay? So I have to tell you that at the beginning of the summer semester, I was down in LA and I spoke to 375 people. Yeah, that was a cakewalk compared to being up here right now, just so you know. All right. So, in the beginning, let's see. Oh, thank you. In the beginning, I did title this part of my talk, Netflix, Naps, and Nighttime Snacking. But I did realize that that was just me with my summer break euphoria still taking place. So I changed that to choices, chances, and change. And so you can go to the next slide. Thank you. And so we're going to look at choices, chances, and change. And as I talk, I'm going to be bringing up some of the greats. I don't know, I don't want you to think that I'm name dropping as I bring up these greats, but there's some of them that I've learned so much from. And I want you to walk away today from that knowledge that I gained from them. One of the greats that I got to meet and sit and talk with, and tell me if you know this person, and I was only 15 and 16 when this took place, so at the time I wasn't quite sure, you know, who is this person? You know, I hadn't heard of the Sound of Music or any of that. But I was sitting there and I was talking with Julia Andrews and Walter Matthau. And that, and I call her Julia only because she told me to, and when I met her, I actually was telling her, oh no, I can't do that, you know, because I'm only 15, 16, we're supposed to honor our elders, and she was one of the elders for me. But she said, use your voice for good. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. Use your voice for good, because at that time I was a very shy person who would never even think of getting up on the stage to talk with anyone, let alone getting in a classroom and teaching to anyone. And I really didn't know what she meant by that. Now, when years after that, I was having a conversation with Dean Martin. Maybe it was Dean Stevenson. I think it was Dean Stevenson, yes. Rob Stevenson, who reminded me that even superheroes don't keep their superpowers turned on all the time. That was some very insightful words that reminded me to use my voice for good. I really missed out on an opportunity, though, to ask him a very important question. So the great Dean Stevenson, wherever you are, I will be asking you this question later. Whose superpowers, Marvel or DC? Okay. So I'm including the greats, and for those of you that just went over your head, it means that you're not into the Marvel DC debate that's going on, okay? I am, and if you want to know whose side I'm on or who I like, come and talk with me on the porch and I'll share it with you. I'm including the greats in today's talk because I am reminded of something the great sociologist Baruch, who often reminds us we all stand on the shoulders of giants. And the great Sir Isaac Newton agreed with this, and I'm sure that the great mathematician Dr. Cortez and the great astronomer Chase may also agree with the great Baruch. So there is just something about learning from the greats that is so enlightening. As educators and college staff, you've heard countless speeches and about enhancing education. Today, I want this to be a little different. We're here today to talk about the magic trifecta of choice, chance, and change. And and when I look at each and every one of us that's on this campus, I see educators in every role that we have on this campus. In child development, one of the things we always say is that parents are educators as well. And so as you sit in this room, I watch you as students come to you. And so if you've never seen the great educator Lisa, or the great Shannon, or the great Daisy, you don't know what you're missing. Because they are definitely educators, and I go to them for whatever I need when I need answers that I can't even find. So without a doubt, they are a part of that me being in this system called the California Community College System that I've been in so long. They are the ones that I go to, and I learn so much more that enhances what I do. So every one of us in here, I want you to think of yourselves as an educator, and then begin to find where are you in that role. So let's start off with talking about choice, the power of autonomy. An educator's personal well-being plays a pivotal role in this idea of choice and the power of autonomy. It is as intrinsic to an educator as it is for the student. Every educator stands as a beacon of knowledge and mentorship. But let's consider this. Can a lighthouse guide ships safely if its own foundation is crumbling? I'm not sure why that sounds like something the great philosopher Hassel would say. But just as an educator makes choices about curriculum and pedagogy, so too must they make choices about their own well-being. Choosing to prioritize self-care isn't selfish, it is essential. And I'm going to stop for a moment because I do want to hear you say that out loud. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. Okay, so there will be a test next week on that one. All right, it's ensuring that the light you shine is both bright and sustainable. When an educator is mentally, emotionally, and physically at their best, the choices they make in the classroom they are more attuned, more empathetic, and more impactful. So I wonder what the great psychologists and counselors and the great historians would say about this. In essence, the act of an educator choosing self-care not only fosters an environment where students feel they belong, but also where they observe a role model who embodies the balance and harmony of giving and self-preservation. So I have to tell you, one of the things that I started doing during the pandemic was I would send out announcements to students, and I would do it on a Thursday because they already knew that if you send me an email on Friday and it's late, you won't hear from me probably until Monday. So, and we called it the Self-Care Weekend because they would get little videos from me if I'm riding my bike or if I'm walking, going for a walk, and so I learned how to use a selfie stick for good. So I started video recording just little clips of me doing these things, and then I would post them in the announcement. And at first I didn't have it open so that students can reply. And eventually I opened it and was so amazed at them sending back videos or pictures of what they were doing to take care of themselves. Even if their replies were, I have a big exam coming up, but I remember that in order to make my brain work, I have to take care of myself and listen to my body. And so it's so important that not only that we are demonstrating it, but also that students see us demonstrating it. And each and every time I hear students say, I really walked away with that understanding of the importance of mental wellness and self-care. So just remember that students learn more from what they see than what they hear. I do this activity where when I'm talking about, that over 70% of our communication is nonverbal. And so, you look at someone and you say, oh, yeah, really like that shirt you have on. Where'd you get that shirt from? Wow, that's awesome. And you know what you believe. You believe more of the nonverbal communication than you do the words that they've said. So over 70% of that communication is nonverbal. And so having them see us take care of ourselves, just like our children, they notice everything we do. They observe. The same thing here with our students is that they are watching us and watching how we take care of ourselves, even if you're teaching an online class, okay? And if they see an educator who values their own well-being, it sends a profound message about the importance of making choices that honor oneself. Imagine the ripple effect of such a choice. A learning space where both educator and student prioritize their well-being. This can become a haven of mutual respect, understanding, and most importantly, belonging. So the next time you, an educator, and staff ponder whether or not to take that evening off or invest in self-care, remember, your choices impacts more than just you. And I'm going to stop for a moment and cool off. What it does is it cascades and influences the atmosphere of your classroom and the mindset of every student who trusts you with their future. In making the choice to take care of yourself, we can ensure that choices we offer our students are truly worth it. Can I get you to say choice? Thank you. Because you do have the choice in whether or not. Oftentimes I hear someone say, you know, I really have to get this task done, but you do have a choice over whether to sit there and do the dance, you all know the dance I'm talking about, or get up and go to that little room that they've created for you, the bathroom, in case you all don't know. All right. So next, let's talk about chance. Can I get you to say chance? Thank you. Embracing opportunities is what we're looking for. Chance is not just about embracing those opportunities, but it's about embracing it through self-care. So one of the things that we can think of is the unpredictable tapestry that comes along with education. And one moment you're orchestrating a symphony of music and song and communication through speech or visual modes, and the next you're a referee in a heated debate about whether tomatoes truly belong in the fruit section. Now, speaking of unpredictability, and I think you can go to the next slide. Thank you, yes. Yeah. And now, speaking of unpredictability, let's talk about self-care in the context of embracing opportunities. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and meditation, even though I'm sure many of you would like that to be all that you need to do, because then you're able to say, I can't teach that class because I need to go take a bubble bath. Yeah, you can't do that. That is not just about that. Although it is splendid. In the realm of education, self-care means being agile enough to see the silver lining in unexpected situations that come up for us, and being resilient enough to adapt without burning out. Now, how many of you have heard of compassion fatigue? Or empathy fatigue? Yeah, and most of us have heard of burnout. But for those of us, as you work with individuals, you work with people, your burnout can become even more, or I should say, even bigger, and it moves into compassion. You know, where you have someone that comes to you and says, you know, I think I may have broken my leg. And if the reply is, oh, I guess next time you won't do that. I can assure you that's more than burnout, that's compassion fatigue and empathy fatigue that's taking place. So it's a clear message to us that we need to step away from what we're doing for that moment and to seek out either to take care of ourselves or to seek out the support that we need. So I want to be honest when I'm talking about support. I need you all to know one of the things that I know here at MJC is that I get lots of support from individuals on campus. Like I said, my nervousness, I think my nervousness was the greatest I've ever seen it this morning. And I'm telling you now, I've talked in so many different places, but this has been the greatest that I've had. But all of the greats came out for me, and what they did was I asked them, I said, I need to be able to just see you in the front row. And without question, they may have done this, but they was like, oh, okay, because they didn't know that I was coming up here. But what they did was they just moved to the front row. So I have to say thank you to all of you for doing that. I appreciate it. So now imagine this. You're presented with a chance to implement a new teaching strategy or maybe take on an additional class. How do you make that decision? So I want you to take a moment and just think about it. How do you make that decision? And what I would like for you to do is to tell someone next to you, if you had a project to take on or you were asked to take on another class, what's the first thing you do in making that decision? So just tell it to someone next to you. What is the first thing you do? a lot of laughter. All right, you happy to come back? So I wonder if you first dive head first without a second thought, or do you take a moment to reflect on the impact that it might have on your mental health and your emotional well-being? It took a while for me to learn to do this. Brene Brown talks about this also, and it was like a confirmation that, okay, I'm doing that, I like how I'm doing this. Because I now have no qualms about setting boundaries for myself. Why? Because I've learned that if I'm not here, I know someone else will do it, but if I'm not here, then, and I want to do it, if I'm not here, I won't be able to do it. So the idea here is that I first have to ask myself, where am I? So the first thing I do is I ask myself, will this interfere with my nap? And those of you who know I'm the nap queen. And so if it doesn't interfere with my nap, if it's not going to cause me undue stress, then I just proved myself wrong. I'm standing up here. Okay, but anyway. But this tells you how important it was for me to be here right now. But the idea is that it allowed me to ask myself those important questions. What are you doing to take care of yourself? And if you do that project, if you take that extra class, will you lose out on your nap? Will it cause you undue stress? And if that is the case, you have to say to yourself, and when I say yes to you, I'm saying no to myself. And so I have to check and see, is it a good thing that right in this moment, me saying no to myself, because normally we think about everybody else, but when we say no to ourselves, when we come back later and we'll go, oh, I can't believe I agreed to do this. Oh, I can't believe that you're asking for this task for me to complete it. We have to remember, when we get in there, you may say those things, but the next time, just remember, are there things that you may have said no to yourself about that you actually needed to say yes to yourself and no to that project? So that is my kind of process that I've been doing, and this summer was really working with a group of women who are opening up their businesses, and we were talking about mental wellness and self-care, and me talking with them about boundaries, the importance of setting those boundaries so that their businesses could thrive. So ask yourself that again. Do you go head first and saying yes, where you say, wait, if I do teach that class, I can bank it and I can do this and that. All of that is excellent information to ask yourself, but what I'm asking you is ask yourself first, how am I taking care of myself if I say yes? Are we in agreement that that's something you'll think about? Okay, only half of the room responded. All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So this is where self-care intersects with opportunity is what's happening here. Embracing chances should never come at the expense of your own health. Instead, it's about weighing the potential benefits against the personal costs. By embedding self-care into our decision-making process, we're not just making choices for ourselves, but we're also modeling it for our students. And we're modeling how to approach opportunities responsibly. We're showing them that while life is abundant with chances, it's crucial to embrace them in ways that are sustainable and nourishing. When educators and staff are refreshed and rejuvenated, they approach opportunities with more enthusiasm, creativity, and vigor. That extra project or new teaching technique becomes something additional in our workload, or it's more about the potential and innovation and growth. And I know that you all are seeing the greats, so I'm sharing with you the greats that are on the stage, because the work that they do, it offers so many opportunities. And there's so much that we can learn from them about how do I keep these opportunities going, but at the same time, take care of myself. And here's the kicker. When students see the educators embracing chances while maintaining a sense of balance, harmony, and well-being, they feel encouraged to do the same. And I gave you an example of that with the students with self-care. A recharged educator cultivates a classroom where risks are seen not as threats, but as adventures. And I have to say that, you know, for me, I truly learned that over the years, that the more I take care of myself, when students bring challenges to me, and how many of you in the classroom or as far as staff, students have brought challenges to you, in front of you. Have you ever had that where a challenge? No? Just me? Oh, okay. All right. And so we do have a choice in how we respond. You know, I could respond with, oh, I think that's a you problem, not my problem. I could respond that way, but the hope is that I don't see that as a threat. I see it as this whatever the student is bringing is not about me. It's something that they're experiencing, and they're looking, and I just happen to be the one that's standing here, so they're giving me whatever they have to give. And so I do things like I may ask them for the respect that I deserve. I may also let them know, though, that it sounds like there's something you're going through. And what can I do to help you? What is the next step you would like to see? Or I allow them to finish saying everything they need to say. And then I begin, because I want them to know you've been heard. And then I begin to give them information that they may need to move forward. But I have to be someone who is recharged in order to do that. Because if I've seen one after the other individual who is a student that comes to me that's under stress, and I get to that place where I burn out, compassion fatigue sets in, I definitely will not be showing my best. And what I'm sharing with you right now are things that have gone through my head over the years. You know, whether it's in child development, whether it's been in human services or teaching psychology classes. I've seen the challenges come, so I imagine that in other departments the same things are happening as well. So as we guide our students through the countless chances life throws at them, let's ensure we're also guiding ourselves. Let's teach them through our actions that seizing opportunities is not about stretching ourselves thin, but it's about expanding our horizons in a way that's healthy and fulfilling. So, if I can just get you to say for me the word chance. No, you have to say it like me, chance. No, just kidding. All right. So now let's talk about the confusing mix of change, which is the only constant in life. So the great philosopher Heraclitus had a premonition about Wi-Fi passwords needing updating when he said the only thing that is constant is change. So I don't know how many of you, I always change mine the semester, at the end of the semester before, because I know I'm going to get that note, change your password. So instead of having that stressor, I already know it's coming, so I implement it ahead of time. But let's dive deeper. Amidst the ever-changing educational landscape, how does an educator fit self-care into their busy life? Simply put, change, whether it's curriculum overhaul or a shift to online classes, I think we figured that one out in 2020, can be stressful. While we adapt at helping students navigate these changes, we often neglect ourselves and our own well-being. As developmentalists, we often teach about change, and we must take care of ourselves amidst change is one of the things that developmentalists know. Am I correct in saying that? Our developmentalists down there? And this refers to educators practicing self-care and resilience during times of transition or upheaval. So I don't know how many people are in the room right now, but I'm going to call into this conversation something that a conversation I had yesterday with the other developmentalists that are in the room, and that's our child development faculty. And I told them when I moved back over to child development that they have to know that I'm still the same Cheryl I've always been, which means that you're gonna get those questions about, did you eat today? Have you taken care of yourself? And Giselle, I have to share about I don't know where you are, but I have to share about yesterday. No one knew, I just sent her a private message, and I just said, Giselle, did you eat today?
I was angry.
Yeah, she was very angry. And if you've ever seen her angry, you know that that means she gets even sweeter, right? There you go. All right. So this might mean managing stress or seeking support when needed. Adapting, or even adapting to a new situation with a positive mindset. This morning, I'm sharing things that I need to stay in this room, but one of them is I have this affirmation song that I play in my car when I'm going to something that elevates my emotions a little bit with like stress. And I have this song, and normally in the morning when I'm driving on campus, and I tell students this, I will have my music playing pretty loud, and then I pass right in front of here, and I say, oh, I know Mars building is there, let me turn it down a little. And then I'll turn it down, and when I get past there, I'll turn it back up loud. But the idea is that I know it's like my affirmation songs. That I have on my, and by the way, my playlist name is Affirmation Songs. It's just so you know. Because those are the songs, my go-to songs. So think about what are your go-to songs that you may go to that helps you when you are stressing. And I want you to share with someone what that go-to song is. So share it with someone. Do you have a go-to song, or will you create where you have a go-to song? Let me have you to come back. All right. I love the laughter that I'm seeing and hearing, and I really want to know what the song is then. I'm curious to know if anyone else's song is I Look Good, I Look Fly. Anybody know that song? Oh, shoot. Did I just tell on myself? All right. So just remember, we must take care of ourselves in the middle when we are experiencing the many changes that can happen in our life. But another thing that we do is that we pave the way for students to thrive. And this idea suggests that when educators prioritize their well-being and model resilience, students are more likely to succeed as well. This is because students often mirror the behavior and attitudes of the teachers that are around them. When educators are well-adjusted and cope in healthy ways with change, students will likely adopt similar habits. I have to tell you that one of the habits that I think, me being such a shy person, which I am, a very introverted person, I got to see some educators who, in my early years, were advocates. And I never titled myself an advocate, but I began to remember these are the people that taught me how to stand up. And I remember Miss Powell. I used to call her Miss Power, but her name was Miss Powell because Miss Powell, I was in a school in Louisiana that had just been integrated that very first year. And I just remember Miss Powell being the one teacher that would stand up to make sure that everyone felt that they belonged. And I learned from that, and I have no hesitation in standing up for justice and making sure that people feel that they belong. And I have to say that that came from not only Ms. Powell, but also from my mother as well. When I first started school, the first grade, I thought first grade teachers were supposed to, parents were supposed to stand around the school while you're there at school, 5, 6 hours, however many hours you're in school. I thought that's what they were supposed to do. Why? Because the mothers in our school, since it was the first year that school was being integrated, and no, I'm not that old, it was in the 70s, that it was being integrated, they would stand outside the school from the time we entered until the time we walked out of the school. So when I got to middle school, I was thinking, I went, why aren't the parents standing outside? I didn't realize that that wasn't what parents actually do, that they actually take naps and they go shopping and all of those other things, you know. But our parents decided to stand out to make sure that we were okay. And I think that that same thing I carried with me with my own daughters. And so, because I want them to learn that in order to have self-care, you must use your voice. You must speak up when speaking up is needed. And so when I would walk on their campus in their high school, Janet Jackson's song, Miss Jackson, was all I would hear. The students would start singing because they're like, yeah, we know you, you're always here. But you understand that what I observed those parents and thought that that's what I should do, but eventually I came to understand that's what I needed to do. And so that need is just so deep within me that it carries me on each and every day. So in essence, for educators and staff, self-care isn't just about personal rejuvenation. It's about building the resilience that comes along with change. So embrace the self-care that you may need and say to yourself that my emotional and mental health is so important. Instead of being overwhelmed, we become adaptive. We see change as an avenue for growth and not just an obstacle. So if I can get you to just say out loud, change. Change. Oh, you said that one like I said it. Awesome. All right. So by modeling, let's see where we are here. Yes. So by modeling healthy coping strategies, we not only foster personal well-being, but also inspire students to approach change with great optimism and resilience. Certainly we must take care of ourselves amidst this and pave that way for them. This statement that you're seeing on the screen now, it emphasizes the profound influence that educators have on students, not just in terms of academic knowledge, but also in life skills and emotional well-being. The choice, chance, and change trifecta are held up by pillars. And those pillars have been a part of what we talked about today. That whole idea of belonging and learning and thriving. This is not just a motto, it's a philosophy, a commitment to transformative power of education, and our role in sculpting a vibrant future. I invite you to join me on this journey as we unravel how each of us can bring these components to life, because we want them to live in everything that we do on this campus, blending them seamlessly into our education ethos. So allow these to be held up with these pillars. The first one is live. Whenever you hear, as humans, we need to live and feel that we belong. When we speak of living, we aren't merely talking about existence, but truly experiencing the wonders around us. And this starts with belonging. Think of that one teacher whose lessons still lingers in your heart. Can you think of that teacher? Because I know the great Melanie Baru, I know who it's like I've sat with her mentor, you know, or the great Ivory. It's like I've heard, and I know who his mentor is, who was Smith, and was for many of us. So I want you to think about who that one teacher is. And it may be more than one, but I don't want you to break. You're coming back from summer break, so I don't want to make your brains work too hard. Okay? So think of that one person. And chances are, they didn't just provide information to you. What they did was they began to breathe life into the lessons that they were providing to you. And that subject, they can tell that you live with passion with that subject. Yeah, that's the word. This is in essence the learning to know. It's about creating vibrant connections, nourishing curiosity, and revealing the enchantment of every lesson that we offer. Belonging isn't just about data, it's about a living, breathing entity. And as educators, you are the lifeblood that carries this essence into the hearts of students. Know that you belong, and they will know that they belong. Our next pillar is learn to do. What's knowledge if we don't apply it? Our next pillar, learn to do, underscores this essence of our theme, learn component. It's one thing to know the notes of a song, but another to play it, to feel it, and to make others feel it too. The real magic happens when theory meets practice. And I don't know if you were sitting behind me over there, but when the dancers were out here, I was having a hard time staying in my seat. And you probably were wondering, what is she doing? Because I'm telling you, all the moves they were doing, I'll only do them sitting down, though, just so you all know. I'll only do them sitting down. All right, so that real magic happens when we take theory and we bring it into practice. As educators, we are the bridge between knowledge and action. And we empower our students to transform their learnings into real-world masterpieces, their lives. And the next one is thrive. And I have two ideas that holds up this pillar. The thrive is to grow, to flourish, and to reach our highest potential. And this is achieved through this harmonious blend of learning to live together. And it emphasizes our role in cultivating environments that are inclusive and diverse. Every voice is valued, and every perspective is appreciated. In our multicultural classrooms, we are just imparting knowledge, but we're not just imparting knowledge, but we're also teaching our students the importance of unity, respect, and collaboration. There is this idea that learning to be resonates, and let's see, and I think it's the next slide, I think. Yes. This idea of learning to be really resonates, this type of introspective and personal growth. It's about ensuring that students don't just learn about the world around them, but also deeply understand themselves. The two of these, they go together. They're like a recipe that students not only need to exist, but they also need it in order to thrive. And I think that my hope is that you walk away today understanding that importance of not only helping our students to thrive, but we thrive also. And when I saw that that was our theme for today, I thought about how have I thrived here at MJC in over 20 years. I actually started teaching here in child development with my BA. And then I moved on to my master's, and if it wasn't for a mentor, I would have gotten about 3 more masters. But what he said was, if you love education that much, go teach at a college. And so that's why I stand here now, is that one mentor whose voice constantly I hear in my head. He didn't say stop getting degrees and stop learning, because he knows I'm a lifelong learner. But he said, do something good with all of that education and all that knowledge that you have. And at the time, I didn't think I can do it, but then I had others that said, oh, you can do this, you can do this. So this idea of thriving, if I thrived here at MJC, I do want you to think about how you have thrived here. Whether it's you're learning about how to look at the world differently, how to see yourself and self-care in your world, if that's part of you thriving, is that you find out that you don't stress as much as you used to because you now have taken either a class, or you've gone somewhere, or you come to me and ask, is there a therapist that focuses on stress for educators? Yes, I have names for you. Glenn Stovall gave me the name, I forgot to say the great Glenn Stovall gave me the name of the vault. And he hears me tell this story all the time, so I hope he's not getting tired of it. But he calls me the vault because I'll get text messages from him, or I get a call saying, I have this something that's going on, and I'm wondering, do you know a book? And thank goodness I haven't failed him yet. I always know what a book, somewhere. Why? Because if you've been on Zoom with me, you know what my home office looks like. With lots of books, and it includes, if you're wondering why I had to bring up the greats today, behind me people always ask about the books that look like the Britannica. How many of you remember Britannica? The old books. We bought our Britannica set in I think in the early 80s, but they gave us the greats. And so behind me sits the books that are the greats. And all of you, even if I didn't put your name up here, you are among the greats. So I just need you to know that. So if you can just look at someone and just say, you are great, I would appreciate you doing that right now. Oh, I love it. Yes, ma'am. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I have to say, Dr. Redwing, thank you for doing that. He couldn't stay in his seat. He just started moving around telling people they were great. I couldn't read his lips, but I have a feeling that's what he was doing. All right. In wrapping up, each of us here play a role that plays an irreplaceable role in this beautiful symphony of education. You are the greats. You are among the greats. Each of us are the greats in someone's life. To live, belong, learn, and thrive isn't just for our students, but for us too. As we impart these values, we also internalize them, growing in our own journey of educators. And I have to tell you this, that for those of you who are newly coming in as educators, just know that my first evaluation, it was at Hartnell College, that first one, and I just remember the person who was my mentor and had evaluated me saying, so let's talk about your teaching style. Because my teaching style was, okay students, we're gonna get started. So today we're gonna talk about, that was my teaching style. It wasn't until I found my flow that I was able to begin to understand I'm a storyteller. So where are the real life stories? So whenever I teach, whenever I talk, I bring real life stories. And that I'm saying that also for those of you who may be thinking that was not real, me talking about Julia Andrews and Ralph Malthau, that actually is a true story. Me sitting with them and having an hour-long conversation with them. And if you want to know more about how I got to that place to do that, anybody know where you want to take me? To the porch, right. Thank you. So thank you for your unwavering dedication, your passion, and the profound impact you make every day. Here's to living with purpose, learning with passion, and thriving against all odds. By understanding and internalizing these concepts, we can seek a more authentic and meaningful connection with ourselves and with others. And I highly recommend Dr. Brene Brown, because she's one of the greats in my life, where I learned all of this information as far as the importance of authenticity and how to bring your authenticity out, is that you first must know yourself. Every day, get to know yourself. Take a U 101 class. Only you can teach it, only you can grade it, and only you can enroll in it. So get to know you. So each individual in this room is a note in the grand symphony of education. You are the guide. As we instill these values, they become part of us, enhancing our own educational journey, and here's a wink to you, or flex. So my deepest gratitude for your relentless dedication, your fiery passion, and the ripples of change you create each day. And here's to a life imbued with purpose, a thirst for learning, and an unyielding spirit that thrives no matter what. So I need you to understand this also, and you can go to the next slide and just let it go, that if you are worried about change, I forgot to tell you this, if you're worried about change, I need you to know that Mr. ChatGPT will never replace us. So, and some of you are going, huh, what? Ask the person laughing next to you. So have a great semester and a great year, and don't forget to invite some of the greats to your porch. Thank you again for inviting me to be here. And if you go to the next one. you're seeing there is if you want just of those pillars, if you want just like a slide, one slide of it to hang up in your office, if you scan that, it will open up for you. Thank you, Ms. Matthew.
How amazing was that? One more for sure. All right, so we have one more small item and then closing thoughts. So I would like to welcome to the stage Laura De Leon, Professor of Spanish from the School of Language Arts and Education, who is also the director of the Comunidad Centennial Mural Project.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, that is. Comunidad means community. On behalf of the Comunidad Network and as the director of the project, I want to share the story about the beautiful 12 by 15-foot art piece that can be seen at the heart of our institution, the entrance of the Library Learning Center on this campus. Its title, the Modesto Junior College Comunidad Centennial Mural, a visual time capsule. Before I delve in, I want to take a few moments to acknowledge the three amazing artists that have been part of this journey. All three are current or former MJC students. Jewel Rodriguez is an MJC alum and current CSU Stanislaus art student. Not only did she paint, she was also the creative supervisor that oversaw the artistic development of the mural. Haley Farrell is a current MJC student, and Myra Cortez is a former MJC student, CSU Stan alum, and current high school art and design teacher. This is my favorite part of the presentation. If you can run the time lapse, please. The time lapse of the creation of this visual time capsule spans from May 25th to July 6th of this year, of the summer, 2023. It's going to be in the background as I tell you about its development. Picture this, fall of 2020. MJC prepared for its centennial celebration during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Former MJC Foundation Director and Comunidad Network member, George Budrukas, presented the idea of a centennial-inspired mural at one of our Comunidad meetings. Having had my mural painting sabbatical interrupted because of the shelter-in-place order, I formed a committee and took the lead as director. I don't know what that was. In subsequent semesters, through successful sprints and mild hurdles, we turned George's idea into the finished product you see today, a visual time capsule, a marker in time, if you will, that exhibits the great strides made by MJC to support Latinx students on their educational journey. The imagery of the mural reinforces success, resilience, and MJC's long-standing commitment to serve the unique needs of underrepresented students. The imagery also depicts the hope and aspirations of the Latinx community of the Central Valley. There's all sorts of stuff on here, I'm sorry, it's fumbling. So, the imagery also depicts the hope and aspirations of the Latinx community of the Central Valley, which accounts for 54% of the MJC student body. The mural has a stacked composition that centers on the universal milestone of graduation. It has MJC graduates at the center of the design, and they are surrounded by various elements that represent the diverse paths of their journey towards this culminating event. It includes imagery of their familial support networks, as well as diverse aspects of their background and cultural heritage. These elements are nestled within cultural references of their neighborhoods, MJC landmarks, and our regional landscape. It is our hope that the mural will enhance the student experience by documenting the rich and diverse Latinx presence on campus in a way that inspires and promotes a sense of belonging. I am extremely honored to have been part of the collaborative process working closely with the artists on the design of the mural. I am also extremely proud of the way they brought this vision to life. Their voices reflect the essence of the mural, and I want to share their favorite parts of this experience. Joel says, meeting all of the beautiful individuals that came to embody the portraits you see on the wall was my favorite part. Haley feels that this project has been one of her best achievements. She says, I'm proud to be Indigenous and Mexican American. I have always been proud of my roots, and working on the design of the mural, I had the opportunity to bring different aspects of my cultural heritage to life with images that present us doing more than what everyone expects of us. Finally, Myra says, not only did we get to see the mural come to life on the wall, we also witnessed the reaction of MJC students and staff in support and awe as the project unfolded. As we spoke with them, we got to hear their stories. As we continue to repopulate our on-campus student community, the mural will greet students with a visual representation of inclusion and imagery that reinforces success. A huge thank you to everyone who helped bring this idea to life. And a special thank you to Miguel Trejo from Public Relations for coming out every day to set up his camera, which captured this beautiful time lapse that you just saw. On behalf of the Comunidad Network, I invite you to take a stroll by the Library Learning Center to see it for yourself if you haven't done so already. Thank you and have a wonderful afternoon and a great start to the fall 2023 semester.
I'm going to invite Interim President Chad Redwing back up, this time very quietly, for some closing thoughts with my co-host.
Giselle, I know you're hangry, so this will go quick. First of all, thank you, Laura. Thank you for your leadership in such an inspiring project so we can visualize the path ahead. And Cheryl, thank you, wherever she disappeared to, thank you for that inspiring speech. I will only bring up the great Ram Dass, who said, to teach is to be. And thank you, Cheryl, for reminding us of that today. So I'm going to turn things over to the co-hosts. I want to thank Rob and Jackie for your co-leadership today and hosting the event. So thanks very much. Lunch is available outside. The food truck is outside over in the student service area. It's a little warm outside, so it's open inside. You can use the cafeteria, the staff lounge. Have a wonderful semester. Thank you for your attention. And I will say this. Every single person who talked on this stage already works here. We're enough. We can do this. Have a great semester.
All right, really quickly, you guys. We do a lot of good work. Give yourselves a hand. Good job. I'm going to talk about this last piece, and it's called Thrive. And we've been talking about community, and the last few letters of community is unity. And it's exactly what umoja means in Swahili. And so I want us to look at this video for a couple minutes, and then I'll have some final remarks. We can cue that up. I share this video with all of you because sometimes we hurt. Sometimes we're sad. Sometimes we are going through something, and the same is true for our students. But as you look at this photo that I have behind us, it's a glimpse of reminders of all of the great work that we do. We are resilient, we are tough, we are blessed. And as we get to know our students and each other, and we see that there is an opportunity to embrace and show care, remind students that we have a wonderful health services department here on campus. And that they have timely care available to them 24/7. And for us, we have EAP if there's a need to do so. But the thriving part, we realize that we have each other and that we're going to encourage one another, we're going to motivate one another, we're going to remind each other that we are MJC. I hope you guys had a wonderful Institute Day. Let's get ready for the fall semester. Let's go eat some tacos. Let's do a dance. And I'll see you guys out there. Thank you all. Take good care.